Okay, let's take a look at your swing. Your geometry of your swing looks fine. The problem is it doesn't have any force or any resistance to get any energy that you want. So things have to overmove on the way down. Therefore, you get all these mishits, or you fight the same system, which you have a high awareness of. You have a high golf IQ, meaning you're understanding things. We just got to find better ways for you to, when you are working on stuff, to get a little bit more productive in your practice. So what I mean about geometry, this looks good because we go up there and say, look, he's got a shoulder turn, his weight is moved over, his club is square, and he's on plane. But there's no energy for you to get any power to this golf ball from here. Even though it might look good, there's no power from you from the ground, and all the energy that you have is up here in your shoulders. So there's no way to apply levers at this ball. So what's going to happen is you'll move your weight and you'll throw those hands down there and just flip at it. So you aren't really getting any power from your core, and that's you just kind of lunge and flip. And you see you're not getting any power from your core muscles. So we have to just load up the engine a little bit better. So that swing's more about resistance and stretching more than just in your swing, which is a lateral move, and then you kind of stretch your arm out and lift. But there's no resistance here in your body whatsoever. So now what we are trying to feel now in this first part is I've got my arms against my core muscles, or we'll just call your ribs. I've also got my driver right on my belt buckle. I want that to stay there as long as I can. If I can, I'm going to feel pushing from my feet, like I'm playing defense. Athletic, I'm pushing back and forth with my feet, even though you cannot see it. But I'm pushing, I'm relaxed and pushing rotating my rib cage. But I am feeling a lot of resistance right here. And the best way for me to describe that to someone, if you're trying to come push me over, I'm going to connect to the ground and use the ground so I could push back to hold my ground so you couldn't push me over. And that's the feeling that I feel like I'm resisting. I'm creating energy or power that I'm connecting to the ground because all my energy is being stored and I need to push off the ground. So every pound of pressure we push that way, the ground pushes back to help turbocharge all this energy. So we need that ground reaction forces. So right here in your swing, I could go over there and just push you over. You have no connection to the ground at this point. And so that's the first thing. Now the next thing is, I wanted you to we're going to stretch this muscle right underneath that shoulder blade. Okay, to do that, we're going to create our left arm as like a lever. So as you're feeling this motion stretch here, that left arm is going to, kind of like a lever, it's going to move that way to stretch that muscle against your core muscles. So when we do this, I'm feeling stretch right there and resistance. So now I'm starting to wind my spring up. So just think of it, I'm building a spring of energy from here to here because I want that thing to stretch and feel really powerful to the ground at this point. And that will get me to this position. So even though we look the same here, where I feel power and energy in my swing, it's stored up, and yours doesn't have that. So then you have to manufacture that on the way down in your swing. So let's move ahead here to so we're looking at a couple tour players here. Now, if we do this correctly, you'll see a tour player goes through the ball where their hands are quiet. In other words, they're not trying to flip the wrist, or not trying to hold. This club is unhinging, and their hands are quiet. Because you can't get any power in your body, your hands are active through there. There's a lot of rolling of the wrist. It's because you didn't have any power from the body, so the hands are doing this extra roll. And this is where this hand goes into flexion on this side and extension this side. And that's the hooks are hitting ground, where when they go over here to the right, You'll see the hands of a tour player are quiet and their energy from the ground is clearing out. Eventually, we're trying to get that to compress the ball, take better contact with the ball, and get and better hitting the ball better off the ground and getting that hook out of there, your swings. So remember quiet hands. So let's look at Roy here in his backswing. So what's happening here with Roy, he is stretching. So there's a connection you can see that he's getting from the ground. So there's a stretch right underneath here to here. There's resistance from here, and his core muscles are tight. And this gives him all that energy. Now because of that, his first move is his legs will start driving this energy, and this is going to be pulling down behind it. Since you didn't have that, you could just kind of drop the hands and just try to get your hands through. That feeling allows me to get to when we're hitting the bag feeling. I'm going to play, from here I can play leverage to the ball. Now I'm hitting with my core feelings. See, right through impact, I'm hitting with my legs and my core so my hands don't flip over. You really don't have any core feelings, you just have your get here and you flip it. So we want this feeling, that's more leverage in the swing. That's a good drill to turn it upside down and try to get that feeling of that compression. We'll go to Jon Rahm. You're going to see his backswing is definitely a stretch. We think of him as in a short swing, but if you look at it, you'll see the legs are holding back here, and the stretch is there. Now he's extremely out. Some people more round. You're going to be more of a round person like this, but you still need to feel the stretch there. Now, if we go back here, I'm hitting the bag the same way, and you see we look the same at impact as we did with Roy, because they all eventually have to get back to compression. Backswings can look a little differently, but it's about compression to the golf ball. So the golf swing is a force. There's a load that we just talked about. There's a force of energy hitting the bag. And right there it's important for you to feel all this energy into the bag, not after the bag. So this is your body trying to get through to the finish and catch up with the hands in a flip. It's you getting and chasing. So at impact, we're going to hit that bag, and that's the force. And the release, watch the club release out. That's the speed. A little chipping drill, same thing. I'm hitting the bag at impact. My hips are on the other side. This is me chipping with one hand, just like hitting the bag drill. You see all three have the same exact motion. I'm playing a force from the ground, arms swing, hands are quiet. Now this is what it looked like after we'd made some changes. So right now, you're feeling a stretch here and you're resisting here. You're also going to see your legs looks like they're in a more loaded position. Over here, you're not really in a loaded, just the arms coming up here. You can see how your arm doesn't just kind of lift. You're feeling that resistance right here in your back here, and you're loaded up for energy here. So you can see this is a more powerful backswing. This is our load, move, resist, lever, stretch, that muscle. And now you'll see the legs drive. See the hips, they're gonna start moving laterally now. There's the bump, hands drop. This is you just twisting and flipping. This is you driving and your hands drop, and now you're hitting the bag. And all your parts start lining up in the swing. Now you can release it. instead of chasing it.